11 to 46. Basically, these verses in the second chapter is a description of levels of Vaishnavas. There are several categories of the devotees, and there's the way they're acting is different. The way they think, there's consciousness level is different. And Srila Prabhupada and previous acharyas, they did not recommend to stay at the level of Kanishka, the beginner. And Srila Prabhupada called the slippery slope. It means that this is a really dangerous position to stay in this beginning state of mind. You cannot really do the devotional service properly in this state. Your faith is not stable. So there are three stages: Kanishka, Madhyam, and Uttama. And Kanishka means the faith is not stable. So he's going back and forth. And Madhyam is the one in the middle. And Uttama is the one who above the Tama, above the darkness. Uttama. Srila Prabhupada wanted us to be preachers, everyone. He wanted all of his disciples to be preachers, and the levels of preaching could be different. But to be a preacher, you need to reach the second stage. Even those who were at the highest level, they had to go down to become a preacher, because if you on the topmost level, you see everyone equal, and for the teacher, this is not what you need to do, because you need to differentiate, you need to make relationship, you need to know the distance between how to make this relationship, And the beginners, they cannot make friendship, they tend to argue, and they tend to see the Lord only on the altar. They don't see the Lord, that the Lord is inside our hearts as well. So I will read the verse and then we'll talk. This verse I chose because it's really connected to the Upadeshamrta. And to do a bit of preface, Upadeshamrta is an instruction, and Prabhupada translated this book by Rupa Goswami as a Nectar of Instruction, because those are instructions given by Lord Chaitanya in Jagannath Puri, and Rupa Goswami was there, so he heard everything and he wrote it down. And Upadeshamrita means being at the feet of Amrita, of nectar. So, let's start with Srimad Bhagavatam verse. Ishvare tat adhineshu valishayasu visatsucha prema maitri kripopeksha yat karoti samathyamana. Verse by verse translation. Should we do it? Word by word. Ishvare, unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Tad adhineshu, to persons who have taken fully to Krishna Consciousness. Balishashu, unto the neophytes or the ignorant. Dvishatsu, two persons envious of Krishna and Krishna's devotees.
Two persons envious of Krishna and Krishna's devotees.
Cha and Prema, love. Maitri, friendship. Kripa, mercy. Upeksha, negligence. Ya, anyone who. Karoti, does. Saha, he. Madhyamanaha, the second class devotee. Translation by His Mercy, Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. An intermediate or second class devotee called Madhyama Adhikari offers his love to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is a sincere friend to all the devotees of the Lord, shows mercy to ignorant people who are innocent, and disregards those who are envious of Supreme Personality of Godhead. The end of verse. The purport is really long. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but we need to read some of it because it's the most important. According to Bhagavad Gita, every living entity within the material world is eternally a minute fragmental portion of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Mamai vamso jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatana. Bhagavad Gita 15:7. But because of the influence of Maya, the puffed up conditioned souls become inimical to the service of the Lord and the Lord's devotees, choose leaders among the materialistic sense gratifiers, and thus engage busily in the useless society of the cheaters and the cheated, a society of the blind leading the blind into a ditch. Although the community of Vaishnavas is sincerely eager to serve the conditioned souls by bringing them back to their constitutional position, by Maya's influence, the materialistic living entity becomes hard-hearted and rejects the mercy of the Lord's devotees. So the second class of devotee, called Madhyama Adhikari, is required stage of mind to be a teacher. And it's bringing us to Upadeshamrta. The first verse of the Upadeshamrta actually is giving us the formula by which we can recognize the top qualified teacher. And it sounds like this: a sober person who can tolerate the urge to speak, the mind's demands, the action of anger and the urges of the tongue, belly and genitals, is qualified to make disciples all over the world. So this is the top consciousness, and we can say like, yeah, but this is like really hard to get to this stage, and but we need to see the big picture, to go step by step. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So this sober person who tolerates the urge to speak, the mind's demands, the action of anger, and the urges of the tongue, belly, and genitals is qualified to make disciples all over the world. We need to see these qualities to choose this kind of person to follow. and it requires some intelligence from us. We need to know, and the beginner always is always conditioned by his ignorance. He can be led by some sentimental attachments, by some philosophical views, but this is not the science of devotional service. I mean, by saying science, I mean a certain way of you get your material, you do some actions with it, and you get the result. And that result is written in the scriptures. If it's the same, then you're there. But and this is the scientific approach, But because nowadays people say those scientists, they're also liars. We don't trust them. There was a time in the 60s, 70s, people used to say the science is the best, science is most important. But now it's just people say they are rascals, so they don't trust. So who do you trust? I trust myself. I trust my feelings. I trust. I think I'm God. This is what's happening right now. And without having this connection with the Lord, Sambandha is the connection, and the Sambandha is also the knowledge about our constitutional place, who we are, what we should do. We learn from really real scholar. We can learn that we are not this body. We are the soul being trapped in this body. And if we learn about that, then we need to learn what to do with it. If this body is a machine, then this machine can be sometimes it can be put on automatic, or it can be in the manual. The manual is the best, and it requires us to know, to learn about it, right? But nowadays people are buying cars with automatic transmission. They most of them are lousy drivers. So same with our body. We've been born with this body, but we don't know really how it works, how to operate it. And some treat it as a miracle to learn about the soul, but some, even when they learn about it, then they know that the soul is has such and such qualities. They still don't believe it. And you can really see, because of this Maya curtains, like the horse, when it runs and you want it to be stable, you put some curtains, so no noises disturb it. Same with us, our mind is so strong that Maya had to put this, so we only focus on, we can't really focus on things, but yeah. So these three levels of devotees, the beginners are always argue, they're always fighting, they're always seeing, even if they want to approach the Lord, they only see on the altar. They won't be able to see in all of the devotees or in nature anywhere. And what they do, they try to exploit the youngest. They, instead of making friends with the equals, they compete, and they envy those who are higher. And this is the formula that really can bring us down. And the reason why they do it, because they're acting under the influence of the modes of nature. In Bhagavad Gita chapter 14, there's a description of 3 modes of material nature, and these are this is what we really need to know to start. We need to understand how this picture is made of, what it is made of. Like we usually take 3 main colors and we mix it together and we have a lot, and it's a whole palette. So this ignorance, passion, and goodness are the 3 modes. And we're, all of us, except for a few people in this world, are under a certain influence. And 90% of this world is under the influence of mode of passion. And we get to act being pushed by those modes. It's like the puppets. There's a puppet theater, and we only see those little figures playing their roles, but we rarely pay attention to those who really pull in the strings. So those modes are pulling the strings, and we need to learn it really well to distinguish. Say we need the ignorance also. People say, okay, I will need to get rid of ignorance, and then I will get rid of passion and stuff. But we need ignorance to go to sleep, right? So this is a really nice scheme that you can have in your head. You can operate those modes if you're learned enough. Of course, it's all by mercy of Krishna and Guru, and we won't be able to do anything by ourselves. But still, this knowledge. So we go to sleep and we're under the influence of a mode of ignorance. And to wake up, we stand up, we do some physical training, and this is the mode of the action, the mode of passion comes into play, right? And then after that we sweat, right? And we go to a shower, and we take a shower, and that's the mode of goodness. And if we keep ourselves clean in our mind, in our thoughts, bodily, and everything around, then it will help us to be fixed in this mode. And next, all the devotees, they go and start to chant japa, and that's it takes us out of the modes, right? This is like nirguna. Yeah, to stay there, it's a completely different. You need to be like always in a devotional service. And there is a roadmap to this state of mind. And people say, like, it's really hard to practice for me because I'm pretty sinful, and I don't know how to. I need to pay more attention to clean myself. I need to pay attention to that. But really, what Shastra says, it's enough to say the holy name just once to be purified of all the sins. It's enough to do the parikram around Tulasi Maharani, and that's enough. You know, you're already sinless. But the only problem we have is that after being purified, we go and grab that dirt again and put it back on us, like on ourselves, like those elephants do. You know, it seems like when they take in bath, it seems like they really like to be clean, but as soon as they reach the bank of the river, they take the sand and put it on there. So we need to really stay focused on what we do, and we have all the instructions, and this instruction, Nectar of Instruction, is really giving us the best way to succeed. So this medium state of mind is giving us some benefits by understanding that the Lord is placed inside of heart of every living being, and that way it makes us to understand that we need to make proper association, and that we need to work on the relationship. And the relationship is what really makes this magic. Because to get to the Lord, we all want to, but if we don't have a relationship with the devotee who has a relationship with the Lord, we won't be able to do it. So this mechanism is it's pretty simple, but at the same time it's hard, because we always tend to get some let me read it for you from Nectar of Instructions. Whenever you have time, if you read this, it's so good. One's devotional service is spoiled when he becomes too entangled in the following 6 activities: eating more than necessary, or collecting more funds than required. If we eat a lot, we won't be able to wake up early in the morning. And the next thing you know, we want to gratify our senses even more. So the tongue and belly and genitals is on the same line, and if we eat a lot, then our belly becomes heavy and it pushes down to our genitals, and then we run after some of the desires. We want to do things, and it takes us places. So the formula is like this: we need to control our tongue by eating prasadam and chanting Hare Krishna mantra. That way the tongue is automatically under control, and this thing is the key to have the rest under control also. So I noticed that devotees nowadays, they don't really treat it really serious, the prasadam, and that they think, oh, this thing is not offered, that's okay. I do it in my head, or I'll eat it, and then, oh, Shri Vishnu, Shri Vishnu. No, it's good, but it leads you to this state of thinking, and then you treat it cheap. So this way, this is a little step to start diminishing your sadhana, to lose this understanding. And then we go outside and we meet a lot of people, and but we have a recommendation. We need to only speak to them, and whatever they say, we kind of filter it, so it doesn't affect us. Otherwise, the mundane things will be in our life more and more. And practicing the spiritual rules and regulations only for the sake of the following them is no good also. Like nowadays, people come to church and they can tell you what to do exactly. Like you need to bend there, But what's inside of the heart? What are you praying for? You know, like it's not enough to do this show, and sometimes show is not required at all. You know, you just need this. All these traditions and ceremonies is required as a matter of cultural thing, and it elevates the consciousness. When you witness puja, you see how someone is doing this. You automatically meditate on relationship with God. But if you do puja without understanding, or you bend, or you cross yourself, or whatever the Christians, Muslims, Buddhists, whoever it is, they do, or Hare Krishnas, it will do no good. So associating with worldly-minded people also give us this pollution in our mind. Our mind is getting polluted. So we cannot avoid it, but the recommendation is like this. We preach them by our actions, by our professionalism in life, by our good grihastha ashram, our good family life. Everything we do is perfect. Then they getting attracted to Vaishnavas. Then they want to know, like, what do you do, who are you praying, and everything else. So, and we need to be enthusiastic on this. Do you have some minutes to talk? So some principles that are favorable to the execution of pure devotional service is being enthusiastic. And it really, enthusiasm is required to whatever action you do. Like you want to learn some foreign language, or you want to learn whatever, cooking, you want to do something, you need to be enthusiastic. And then you act with the confidence. As long as you know what you do, you act with the confidence and you convince people. And then you are patient, because you try to learn something, you need some patience, right? Otherwise you won't be able to. And then to do it the right way, it's not some spiritual even instructions, you know, like in our mundane life we can do this. But to achieve a certain goal, we need to follow some principles and regulations. Everyone will tell you this, you know, like you go to school, they tell you in some place the uniform required, some books, some utensils, whatever, and it's important. And then this association is the hardest, I guess. The fifth point is that we need to abandon the association with the no-devotees, and people will say, how is it possible? Like, everyone around me, I should tell them goodbye or what? No, it's like we don't take these words to our heart. That's what it means, you know. We keep our association, we keep being around them. It's like nowadays they call, because people are so they lack intelligence so much nowadays that they're called trees, you know, like they're like trees. And it means that this is vana, the forest, these cities, all the cities, you know, and all the communities are like forest. And you need to be vana praska, you know, to you can live there and preach. And you don't need to go, there are no forests anymore. So we live in these cities, but if we preach, then this is like Vanapraska ashram. And then to do all that, we need to follow the footsteps of the previous acharyas. Yeah. some people say, I don't really need anyone. There is me and God. This is like Kanishka. This is the beginner. You hear it, you automatically know this is the beginner, and that's fine. But you need to grow, right? So the one who is in the middle, he wouldn't say it like this. He would make it like he would avoid atheists and materialistic people if they're like very acting like they try to push you, whatever. You need to stay away from them, and that's what you do. But Kanishka, he would say like, we need to be merciful to everybody. We need to treat everyone nicely, and the topmost level of the consciousness will also be, those are seen like everyone equal. This world is fine, nothing is needed to be fixed. But it's true, because everything is related and connected to the Lord, and there is no problems in this creation. But this is not our level at the moment. So I wanted to read you this little the Narottama Siksa book by Yadunandana Swami. He just came not so long ago to Brussels, and I really like this point where he's saying like he studied the songs by Narottama Das Thakur, and we all know these songs, even if we don't know that it was written by Narottama Das. Shri Guru Charana Padma, and we have it like every day. And Narottama Das, he had really close association with Rupa Goswami, and all his songs are no different from Shastras, from Vedic literature. And he recommends to treat all the devotees, to pay attention how you treat all the devotees. And I don't know if I can find it right now. I won't probably able to find it right now, but not to waste time, I really recommend you to read this book, Narottama Siksa. It's so good. And we need some real instructions, like what to do, to convey this devotional feeling in my heart. And what we do is we offering gifts in charity. We accept gifts. Like Namahata, we establish Namahata in our house, and we keep the doors open for the people to come. This is really easy. When you treat someone with prasadam, nice prasadam, you have no enemies, right? Your neighbors, your colleagues, you always treat them with something, and then gradually they become your friends. It's really easy. This is like a very good formula. So what we do, we offering gifts, and we accepting charitable gifts. We're revealing our mind in confidence and inquiring confidentiality. It's not like I have a secret and I want to share it with you. No, we talk about some sacred things we usually keep from publicity, but we can share it with a friend, right? And accepting and offering prasada. These are the 6 symptoms of devotional, of love, actually. This is what we can do. It's pretty easy. Nowadays, people don't really know their neighbors. They don't. We only see this in the movies, like American movies. And someone is moving into the house, and there is a neighbor with the pie, and it's like, oh. So yeah, but this is Vedas. It's not like something that you can always do it, and you get nice relationship, and the relationship is the key. Okay, we should leave like a couple of minutes for questions if you have, and yeah, thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
If we know the three modes of nature and their symptoms in our own activity, our own heart, then whatever interactions we have with everyone else, we always know that we always very easy to forgive anyone for making mistakes or doing something wrong, because we place those mistakes and whatever is said wrong or whatever offense, we place those things in some category of the moral laws of nature, which means we're not going to take that too serious. That if we are more elevated, we don't take it serious, and it will be very easy to forgive anyone for anything, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely.
And if we quarrel and fight, 10 years ago, this guy made such an offense to me, or 5 years ago, I never forget, but it was done by the impulses of the modes of nature. Why should we take it serious so much, right? So this is also what you're saying, that we should know these things. This also, can you comment a little bit on this?
This is
part of the peace formula.
This is a really good point, and I have an example for it.
Okay.
Like when if say you're doing something, reading a book, whatever, and you really need some time, but then you feel that someone is pushing you always, like from the back, and you get irritated by it, but then you turn around and you see your son, doing this, and immediately you don't feel anger, you don't feel irritated. This is my little son, and you treat him, So this is the way we need to picture ourselves, in this situation. Like whatever irritates us, this is because that person is in a certain state of mind. He's young, he's a child, and children, they are under influence of the ignorance, but they learn, they're good material to learn, they observe everything, and your reaction towards him would be the lesson for him.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
This is how we make our society, this is how we react, and
respond.
we teach at the same time.
We respond.
Yes.
React would be to react with the same mode.
Yeah.
Then nobody learns anything, right?
Yeah,
it's
we can
both
do this,
going
but
down at the same time.
yeah.
It's
So
easy to say though.
What about if it's not a child? What about if that person is not a child who's...
It's always a
we
time.
can have different bodies, but it's about state of mind. Yes, it can be not a child, but it's a big child then.
Yes.
Of course, it doesn't mean that we are naive. We just accept
Yeah.
that we can accept any activity. We also have to, if you are in certain positions, you have to also try to correct people, help them to elevate themselves.
Yeah.
But indeed, one way to help anyone to elevate themselves would be to, what you say, to respond to it in a compassionate mood at all. As a child. This is very true.
Yeah, and it takes us to the very important topic that we get that power to have this buffer. Someone is bothering, and you tend to react right away. But if we have enough of the spiritual power, we can have a pause before the reaction. Because children, this is how they do. You touch them and he touch you back. And the grown-ups, they do pause, they think about it, and they treat you according to the knowledge and what they understand is right thing to do. So this pause can be very short or very long, and depending on how good our sadhana is, how good our japa is, we get more time to think. Even outside it could be like seconds, but inside we have like eternity. No?
Can you explain that last point?
It means, I bet every one of you had this state, like when you start to chant mantra, and you're not pushing it, you're not trying to get some effect from it, you just listen to it carefully and you chant, and then you see it being just 15 minutes, but inside of it was like you thought it was like half an hour already, So this is, it's working, and the more intentive and accurate listening brings you less time spent in the reality.
Internally. Less time spent internally.
It's like you put your interest in mantra. You listen to words, and because you do something with the interest, you're all involved in it, your all senses are there, the time is it's more packed, So if you clean your mind thoroughly, you will have more time for the response. That was my point.
Yeah?
Because nowadays everything is bothering us, like so many things. And we have our anarthas in the heart, we have so many desires. But we tell them, I hear you, and I'll go for it, but a little bit later. And then you forget, you're fine. So,
Nice point.
yeah. When we identify ourselves with the body, with the impulse of the body, then it's really hard to stay calm, because you always feel that something is itching, your back is aching, something is always, you feel this body, but when you finally hear the sound, only sound, your body is not existing.
So you mean to say, with the time, if we put all the interest on our japa, and all the senses are controlled with that interest, and even if we sit for 6 hours, we'll feel it like 10 minutes. This is what you mean?
Yeah, it would be like that. And then it would be hard to stand up.
Yeah.
But you won't be bothered by it. We always, whatever we focus on, this is where we are. We are in the body, because with the age we feel that this body is not as good as before, and I have a problem, this and that. And we think about it, or we feel it, and we try to get better position, locate ourselves. But if we fix our mind on mantra, we get released from this, And I had this in my experience, so I'm really sharing it, because it works. It's not like we're going and no more body anymore. No, same thing. It's just our mind is fixed on a different problem, and this is a Krishna consciousness. We fixed our mind on Krishna. We are with Him. Whenever we look in a different direction, that's mine. So this is.
Sometimes we invite devotees. Sometimes a devotee comes to our house, and then before we know, we have a very nice conversations and speaking together. And, oh my God, it's 11 o'clock,
Yeah.
midnight. Oh my God, time flies also. And you must have had very good conversations together, and then also time flies. So even in that, the holy name same number.
Yeah, one of my friends said that this is how we need to live our life. We need to spend our life in a devotional service. It's a good. It's really, we have the best philosophy, best food, like best everything, And so we enjoy our life here, and we get old. We don't really notice it, Like I'm 41. Wow, it's like this decade and that decade passed, and you don't know how it happened. But then the next thing you see Krishna. Yeah. Thank you so much. It's an honor to being able to talk to you.
You should do a seminar on these things.
I'm sorry?
You should do a seminar on these things to deepen it really out, because it's like an ownership. It's very nice.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much.